Imagine you are a demon and angel hybrid, and you have one goal: defeat the Demon King. That's right, we are talking about your favorite man in red from Devil May Cry, Dante. This Dante is more edgy and vulgar than the main one that we know and love, and we're going to talk about just how powerful this Dante is. To make sure I am not adding any confusion to anyone, we need to go over the differences between the DmC game that was created by Ninja Theory and the main Devil May Cry series that has been managed by Capcom. For the Ninja Theory version, we have angels and demons that have been at war for as long as anyone can remember. Then the worlds that we see are the world of the living and Limbo, which is pretty much the underworld. I'm sure there is a version of heaven, but the game doesn't show it or talk about it. This is all different from Capcom's Devil May Cry, where there are no angels, and it is talked about several times that there is only the underworld and the world of the living. Then to add, there are no angels, meaning that there are no Nephilims or angel plus demon hybrids like Dante and Virgil from the Ninja Theory version. If you want a full video on me explaining the entire Ninja Theory DmC game, let me know in the comments. So let's talk about the personality of this Dante. The Dante from this game has a lot of similarities of what we are used to with the main series version. Then there are a lot of things that are different as well. First off, him and pretty much everyone that isn't Virgil or Cat cuss significantly throughout the entire game. If you haven't played this game, then I just want to mention that this is pretty much the style of the game. It is very much meant to be edgier. On top of Dante being more arrogant and having a potty mouth, he also shows how he cares for people in a different way, where later in the game, he is trying to save Cat, and Virgil really doesn't seem to care about it, and the way Dante goes about it is a lot different than you see Dante from the main series go about it, where he's more casual. He does care about people, but this Dante is actually a lot more direct on how he feels about protecting people. Then as far as heritage, Dante's mother is an angel. It's still Ava. And then his father is Sparta, who originally is a lieutenant of the underworld under what they pronounce as Mundus, where I'm still kind of stuck on. The main series calls him Mundus, literally in the opening scene with Trish, but we're going to call him Mundus in this one because that's what they did. So historically, there have been other instances of other Nephilim outside of Dante and Virgil. We also learned from Virgil that the only individuals that can defeat a demon king are Nephilim. There are no more details added on this, but the assumption here is that they are powerful enough to do it. Not anything else to do with them being angelic or demonic, but the combination of this would make them powerful enough to complete this goal. And then we have his equipment. So Dante is equipped with his trusty sidearms, ebony and ivory. And then we have the Rebellion. And this version of the Rebellion is able to transform into all sorts of weapons that we see in the game, and also doesn't appear to be linked to Dante's Devil Trigger form in comparison to the other Devil May Cry series. Here are the demonic and angelic abilities that the Rebellion transforms into, or just Dante's equipped with in general. So we have the Arbiter. This is the first weapon that Dante acquires after the Rebellion, and is like an axe that does slow and heavy attacks to get through shielded enemies. Then we have Eric's. This is similar to the Ifrit gauntlets from the first Devil May Cry game, or Balrog from the 5th game. Osiris is the first angelic weapon that Dante acquires that is similar to a scythe, and that is very fast to shred through enemies. Aquila is the second angelic weapon and are similar to shurikens that are very helpful in clearing waves of enemies. The other weapons that Dante gets throughout the game are Revenant, which is a powerful shotgun, and then Kablooey, which has explosive needles that stick to enemies and must be manually detonated to inflict more damage. Now let's go over the enemies that Dante has defeated. So we have the Hunter. This is the first boss that Dante faces in the game, and is a bounty hunter that is set on fighting Dante, who at the time was the only known child to Sparta. When Kat first meets Dante, she believes that Dante wouldn't be able to handle the Hunter and tells him to run. Eventually, the Hunter catches up with Dante, the two fight, and Dante is able to defeat the Hunter before understanding any of his heritage that only makes him more powerful throughout the game. Then we have Succubus, noted as an ancient demon, and mentions to Dante that it is over 1,200 years old. This demon is responsible for providing the ingredient to Mundus' soft drink that humans consume, which allows Mundus to keep the humans weak and docile. This demon is nothing special though when it comes to combat, as Dante fights them in Limbo and defeats them with ease. Then we have Bob Barbas. This is a news anchor that we see throughout the game. And outside of him being responsible for feeding humans with thoughts and beliefs that support Mundus, he is actually an interesting demon because when Dante fights Bob, Dante is sent through several different areas to fight other demons. This leaves reason to believe that Bob has the ability to perform some level of reality warping to construct an area for Dante to fight the demons, or the ability to manipulate Limbo itself, as this is where Dante fights the demon while Bob shares to the world what he thinks of Dante. After defeating the waves of enemies that Bob throws at him, Dante is able to defeat Bob and causes further issues for Mundus' ability to keep the world under his thumb. Then there's Mundus' offspring. This is a weird one to mention as a fight, but Dante approached Lilith to go and fight her, and Mundus' offspring was in her womb. This offspring is physically strong and tries to protect its mother from Dante. Again, this fight is weird to have in the story and just weird in general to talk about. But Dante is able to defeat them and takes Lilith hostage so that they can offer them as a trade to Mundus in return for Cat, who was captured in the story. Then we have Virgil, the twin brother to Dante, which means that he too is Nephilim. Spoilers on the story here, but Virgil wanted to essentially take Mundus' place and be in charge of the humans, to which we see that this doesn't make Dante happy. This leads to a fight between the two of them, and if anyone was surprised at this point that Dante wins the fight, then you weren't paying attention to the game, because we hear between Dante and Virgil that Dante is the stronger of the two, and Virgil shares that he is the smarter one. Then we have Mundus, who is the king of the underworld, just like he is in the main series. Then to add, he has essentially taken over the world with his corruptive power, not just his terrifying demonic power that we see in combat. This is a driver for both Dante and Virgil to take on Mundus to save the world from his reign, and to also take vengeance for killing their mother and enslaving their father Sparta. As far as how powerful this Mundus is, he is noted to have limitless power by Virgil. Then with the Hellgate, Virgil shares that he is invincible until they can seal the Hellgate. Before the Sparta twins start their fight against Mundus, Dante has the role of getting Mundus away from the Hellgate so that Virgil can seal the gate with the Yamato. It doesn't take Dante long to get Mundus riled up enough to have the fight go away from the Hellgate, but we immediately see that even in this small exchange between the king of the underworld and the Nephilim Dante, that Mundus is on a completely different level than Dante has ever had to deal with before. Part of it could be that Dante knew that he wouldn't have been able to stop Mundus until the gate was sealed away, but I am of the belief that Dante was in shock at his power and wouldn't have been able to keep Mundus off of him for any longer than it took Virgil to make Mundus vulnerable. The rest of this fight between Virgil and Dante versus Mundus is essentially Dante taking the brunt of the attention and fighting while Virgil looks for opportunities to expose weak points. Oh, and Mundus surrounds himself with all sorts of material from the world to cover himself in a giant version of his physical body, while his main body is hiding beneath all of this. So Dante is fighting a building-sized Mundus pretty much alone. Then in the middle of the fight, Virgil gets pulled inside and fights the actual Mundus, while Dante tries to break through the giant shield and is able to finish off Mundus and save his brother at the same time. Then for strength feats, Dante was able to destroy a bridge while he was in limbo when he was using Eric's to charge up the attack. Then the biggest strength feat we see throughout the game is what happened when Dante activated his Devil Trigger form with a charged up Eric's attack and went for Mundus in their fight. Grappling over to reach Mundus' head, Dante was able to knock him over and put Mundus in a daze for a bit. With how powerful Mundus was and how he was easily leveling most of the city, this would mean that Dante with his Devil Trigger activated is capable of similar destruction. Then for durability feats, before we start the game, Dante's memory was wiped, but he knew that demons were real and that there was something different about him. When he was at a low and questioning his sanity, he did damage to himself to see if he had a heart. While yes, this is a durability and regeneration feat, it also shows how dark this game can get, and I wouldn't recommend you have younger gamers try it out. And another one is when he's fighting Mundus, he is sent out of the skyscraper that Dante and Mundus started their conversation in, and then lands several hundred feet below, while Mundus was forcing him with downward force the whole time. Then immediately after, Mundus is using his hand to claw through Dante in an attempt to take his heart. When Virgil arrives to get Mundus off of his brother, we see that Dante immediately heals with only some marks from Mundus' hand. Then for speed feats, in the opening scenes of the game, the hunter finds Dante and pulls Dante's trailer to attack Dante. At this very moment, Dante is naked from a wild night he had and proceeds to jump through the trailer while gathering his clothes and dressing himself before going through the entire trailer and landing safely on his feet. The way that Dante is casually floating through the air and performing this feat means that he can clearly react and move at this speed. So if we were to assume that Dante's trailer is 25 feet in length and take into consideration how fast the trailer was moving, we are able to see that Dante easily reacted at high hypersonic speed, or 10,230 miles per hour, when you speed up the footage to what would be more real time. And finally incorporate that Dante's movement and reaction would be at peak human reaction, when the cutscene is slowed down for us to be able to comprehend everything that Dante is doing while traveling in the air through the trailer. All in all to say, Dante from the reboot at a high is capable of city-level destruction and should be capable of moving and reacting at hypersonic speeds, or 13 times the speed of sound. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, and if you have other ideas on characters we should go through, feel free to drop them in the comments below. Thank you and appreciate you.